Bring joy for all this Christmas. In case you missed it, the lady on the bus discovered a pair of glasses that revealed to her people's inner desires. And so she was able to buy them a gift that they would really appreciate, a gift that would bring real satisfaction and a gift that would bring great joy. Now, if only I'd had those glasses the first Christmas I spent with Kirsten, my wife. It was an utter disaster. The car hoover was never used, and the game that electrocuted the person with the slowest reactions was met with the words, "Why would you think I'd like this?" Which she sort of shouted a bit. And I didn't realize was a rhetorical question, so began to explain why it was fun. Imagine if such glasses, if such a lens really existed that could help us see beyond appearances, that could help us satisfy people's deepest desires, that would bring such joy to all people this Christmas. The Christmas story claims that the baby in the manger 2,000 years ago, Jesus Christ, is that lens. And over the next few minutes, we'll explore 3 questions. Why do I need to see better? How is this baby a helpful lens? And what do I do with that? So why do I need to see better? Last week I was watching my eldest Abby in a game of netball, floodlit, one evening. And it was interrupted as the floodlights kept intermittently going out. And then at halftime, the floodlights gave out altogether, and we were in pitch darkness, and the game had to be cancelled. It had got dangerous. It was no longer any fun. I mean, imagine trying to shoot at a hoop you can't even see. The author of our first reading this evening was a man called Isaiah, writing 600 years BC. And Isaiah says that I'm fumbling around in the darkness, not just when it comes to choosing presents, but fumbling around in the darkness in this world where there's so much suffering, where there's pain, and a darkness that's not just in this world, not just out there, but also in here, also in me. And not only that, but Isaiah says that on my own I have such a poor light to navigate with. The past couple of years has been a stark reminder that we've not really come a long way since 600 BC when Isaiah wrote these words. We've not progressed all that much, really. The pandemic, the Ukrainian war, 14 million people in the UK experiencing poverty this Christmas. Isaiah would say we're still living in darkness. But Isaiah also wrote these words. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of deep darkness, a light has dawned. For to us, a child is born. So how is this child a helpful lens? Now, my youngest, Emily, 10, has made her Christmas list. She made it about a month ago, stuck it on the fridge. And on that list, I noticed telescope. I thought, what a great present, telescope. That's quite cool. Like glasses, telescopes are amazing, or rather like the glasses in the Boots advert, because they show us so much more of reality. Now, they're not like a microscope, which shows us something really tiny and makes it look as if it's really big, but rather a telescope shows us something that is so unbelievably big and helps us to see it for what it really is, its true majesty. A pinprick of light can be revealed as something truly glorious and truly magnificent through a telescope. So obviously I had to start doing a bit of Google shopping, searching, seeing what you could get for your money. For 30 quid, you can get something that makes the moon look a little less blurry, a little bit bigger. For somewhere between 100 quid and 200 quid, you can start seeing some stunning pictures of stars and planets. And then for 8 billion quid, you can get the James Webb Telescope. which is the size of 2 double-decker buses and was launched into space last Christmas Day. It's a bit tricky to get into a child's bedroom, so I've ruled that one out. This James Webb Telescope can apparently see objects that are over 13 billion light years away. And because of the amount of time it takes for light to travel from an object back to us, when you look through that telescope, you're actually looking back in time. So far back in time that this telescope, NASA tells us, should be able to show us almost to the beginning of the start of the universe. Isn't that incredible? I can't quite get my head around that. Now, it took some people quite a lot of trouble to get these first images of space through this telescope to us. So we should probably have a look at 2 or 3 of them now. I'm not quite sure, ironically, that our projectors will do justice because the lenses and the light, they're struggling a little bit. But here's the first one. This one is called the Pillars of Creation. We've seen this image before through a previous telescope, but this shows us it in so much greater clarity. And it's like a cosmic nursery where stars are formed. And it would take 8 years to travel at the speed of light from one side of this picture to the other side. It's that big, and it's just one small part of a nebula, which is a giant cloud of gas and dust. This next picture is another nebula, and it's just a pocket of space that is populated by ancient galaxies, and it's the deepest ever view of the cosmos to date. And this next one is like a cosmic hourglass, and at the center, a star is forming as clouds of dust and gas are sucked inwards until it retains enough mass to become a full star. So the James Webb Telescope is an incredible telescope, masterfully constructed with immaculately polished mirrors that are curved to focus light into one area for the human eye to see. It gives us an amazing perspective when we peer into the darkness. The Bible claims that this baby in the manger, Jesus Christ, is like an even more impressive telescope than that. Like a lens that we can look through to see God and to see through him and gain an amazing perspective as we peer into the darkness. 2,000 years ago, God became so small so that we could begin to take him in. And as this baby grew, his life showed us more of the beauty and grace and truth of God. Now, a man called John, a close friend of Jesus, saw Jesus' life up close, in detail. And he wrote those words from the last reading that we heard this evening. He reflected, or rather he referred to this baby using a Greek word, logos, which translates into English as the logic, or the reason, or the perspective, or the word. And he wrote these words: "The one who is the true light, who gives light to everyone, was coming into the world. The Word became human and made his home among us. He was full of unfailing love and faithfulness, and we have seen his glory." We have seen his glory. John's words captured in the Bible claim that this baby is God, that this baby was there in the beginning, that everything the Webb telescope will ever be able to see from the start of time is the handiwork of this baby. And not only that, that this baby will cast light on all our darkness and offer to deal with the darkness inside of each one of us. Now, there were also some magi, or some wise men from the east, and they were also fascinated by astrology. And God chose to speak to them through their passion, the stars. And he directed them to the one who made all of it. Now, they clearly had insight, and they were much better at buying presents than me. I mean, imagine the pressure. Whatever you buy this baby will be recorded in history for all time and will be repeated every year. That's pressure. And they started off pretty well. They bought gold. Nice, signifies royalty. Everyone's going to be happy with a bit of gold, can't go wrong. But then frankincense and myrrh. Spices that you would treat a body with for burial. You can imagine Mary and Joseph exchanging looks, maybe muttering, why did they think he'd like this? But these wise men, they knew something about this baby's destiny. Those hands that had once thrown stars into space, those hands now so tiny and in a manger, those hands in just 33 years' time would be nailed to a cross and placed in a tomb. This baby, Jesus Christ, the light of the world, would be snuffed out and encased in darkness. When this baby entered the world, the Bible says God was engineering a way to flood our lives with light. On the cross, Jesus took all our darkness, all our pain, all our suffering, all our wrongdoing into himself. And by coming back to life 3 days later, now holds out the light of life to all people who will receive it. This baby Jesus offers us the logic, the reason, the perspective. This baby Jesus offers us forgiveness and healing and wholeness. This baby Jesus offers us life that will start with him now and go on with him into eternity. This baby Jesus offers us the answer to all our inner desires. This baby, the Bible claims, is the only gift that can bring great joy for all people. So what do I do with that? What do I do with that? Well, going back to my eldest, Abby, when she was just 2, Christmas Day, I was videoing her unwrapping a present from Uncle Richard, who was overseas, with the intention of pinging him the video afterwards. 2 years old, opened up this lovely fabric doll and took great exception to it and threw it in the kitchen bin. I was quite glad Uncle Richard wasn't live on Zoom, didn't send him that video. People react so differently to gifts. And when it comes to the gift of this baby, it's no different. Did you notice the different reactions in the readings that we heard tonight? The shepherds, first of all, afraid, and then excited to see for themselves, and then they went and told everybody. Then there was Mary, who treasured up and pondered in her heart all these things, perhaps on a slower journey to work this stuff through. And then there was King Herod, coming from a place of insecurity, dwelling in conflict. His dark thoughts became darker, and his intent was on murder. He wanted nothing to do with this baby. He wanted nothing to do with God. And if I'm honest, there's something of King Herod inside me. I suspect inside each one of us. Because it's hard, it's uncomfortable to allow God to shine a light into the darkest parts of our souls. And if we're honest, it's inconvenient too. And then there were the Magi, the wise men from the East, who were drawn to bow down and worship. True worship is to put Jesus at the center of our universe, to allow his light to change everything, to allow his light to change the way we think, to change the way we see the world. True worship brings true joy. This baby came to bring joy to all this Christmas. The question is, what will you do with this baby? What will you do with this gift? Let's just take a couple of minutes to ponder that for ourselves. Maybe we'll have a little bit of music as we do that before we go into some time of prayers.